Well, today was supposed to only have 4 videos, but guess we're going with 5 instead, because the very day that I finally finished, the channel retrospective, the Let's Play video, and the other 2 things that I was planning on uploading as once as a celebration of, hey, I'm a Xenoblade channel now, they actually updated Xenoblade 2, so guess we have to talk about that. I don't know. This is a X.X.1 update, so it's going from 1.3 to 1.3.1, so you'd think that it wouldn't be that big a deal, but not only does it patch in a bunch of new DLC quests, which one of them has to do with Finch. So I was originally going to buy the DLC after the actual story stuff came out and judge it based on that, but they had to add a Finch quest, so I'm probably getting it this weekend instead. I might do a video on the Finch one, just that one or something, depends. I think that might require a completed the game but didn't New Game Plus or something to do that, in which case I won't do, because I have one save file in the New Game Plus Chapter 3 and another in Chapter 8, so I don't feel like grinding either of those out to the end of the game, but probably going to buy that. Regardless, there were a lot of good bug fixes and new features which sort of support the idea that 1.3.0 was what Monolith wanted to release the game as, because it's pretty obvious that it was rushed in a few regards, because they wanted to make a holiday release, and instead of delaying it, Nintendo was like, no, you gotta release it now. It's very obvious that New Game Plus and a lot of the quality of life things that came up until then were intended for release, so it took them 3 months or so to get all that stuff out, and even then there were bugs in it, but they're actively fixing a lot of things, which is good. So let's go through them. It's not too big of a list of stuff, but I think almost everything in here needs to be talked about, because a lot of the bug fixes are good bug fixes. They're definitely listening to the community on this one. So the first thing is, fix an issue where I'm going to have to spoil things because some of them are New Game Plus related, but if you haven't beaten the game by now, play the game, then come back. You better play the game. First thing, fix an issue where common blades resonated to drivers other than Rex were being deleted if the player started a New Game Plus with them assigned to Rex. Basically, if Rex had someone else's common blade on him when you beat the final boss and chose to New Game Plus, or actually no, you can New Game Plus anytime after you beat the game. So basically, if Rex was using Master Driver on someone else's common blade when you New Game Plus, that blade would be completely deleted. They fixed that bug in general. Unfortunately, it was actually deleted from the library of blades resonated to your party, so even updating it won't bring it back. But you can New Game Plus without any repercussions now. Fix an issue during New Game Plus where the player was unable to complete or acquire a Common Blades Affinity gift even after fulfilling the conditions. I never heard about this myself, but I guess finishing a Common Blades Affinity chart wouldn't give you whatever it would give you, the boosters or the overdrive protocol in New Game Plus. Fixed an issue where rare blades that were released were unable to rise above trust level S if they resonated with a character again. Downloading the update data will set trust level to S, and in case the trust level is higher than S, doing something to raise it will raise it to its actual level. Basically, if you finish a Blade's Affinity chart, their trust will spike to level S, and then from then you can go up to S plus 0 through, or S plus 1 through 10. It's kind of like Splatoon with rank X and stuff, but S plus 10 is the cap, and that's when you'll get the most bonuses for using them and stuff. But if you released a rare blade when it was above S, when it was something in the S pluses, or even above the threshold for S, the trust level would be set to S and be stuck there. So now when you download the update data, any rare blade that this happened to, because the trust would still tick up, the actual level wouldn't increase, though, basically. So, the way I'm interpreting this is, if the blade's trust is above the threshold for S, it'll be set to S with the update, and the next time you do something that raises its trust, it will spike to whatever level it's supposed to be at. So, if you were Naponcho grinding and it wasn't doing anything, it'll finally come through. We've addressed the following problems where effects intended to be applied to blades on standby were only effective when they were deployed in battle. We thought that this was a nerf. Like, the community in general thought they were nerfing a lot of things like this in 1.3, but it turns out it was a bug, and they restored it to the way it was. So, HP max boost increases the enemy gold drop rate, increases the enemy item drop rate. So, stuff like that, effects from gold chips, and anything on a core chip that will increase drop rates or stuff like that, or boost your max HP, like, such as, stat boosts, stuff like that. In 1.3 and 1.3 alone, that would only apply if the blade was your active one for that character. Whereas in 1.0 to 1.2, it would be if it was one of the 3 resonated to that character at that time. So you could do things like have pentagon chips on 2 common blades in the background and boost someone's agility by 100, make them dodge a bunch of stuff. You couldn't do that in 1.3, but it's been restored to the way it used to be in 1.3.1. Aux cores, Hunter's Chemistry, and Soldier's Shoulder to Shoulder. Those were also restored in the same way. Poppy's Skill Ram. Poppy is spelled incorrectly for some reason. Basically, all of the above, the stat boosts, the regular stat boosts and drop boosts, as well as Hunter's Chemistry and Shoulder to Shoulder, were fixed in the same way. And skills on common blades, Accelerated Growth, Weapons Master, Gold Rush, and Treasure Sensor. I believe Accelerated Growth is EXP boost, Weapons Master is WP boost, Gold Rush is more money dropped, and Treasure Sensor is more item dropped, so those have all been boosted back to the way they were, so it's a lot easier to grind stuff again. That's good. I might finally be able to get Akos in my New Game Plus file. I still haven't gotten him, and I've been trying on and off grinding core crystals since the day New Game Plus came out. It sucks. Fixed an issue where Patroka's evasion art wasn't my god, I can't talk today. Wasn't triggering correctly. I've never really used her much myself, so I guess just wasn't evading you properly. Fixed 3 bugs for 3 different quests, Whereabouts Unknown, Marvelous Mercenaries, and We Meet Again. There were bugs that prevented those from being completed. Those have been fixed now. Fixed an issue where the minimap and compass wouldn't display, and fast travel with the X button would become unavailable. I've never seen that bug myself, but I'm glad it's fixed, basically. And the next one, I tabbed away by mistake. Fixed an issue where Mithra's 10% ether modifier wasn't being reflected in Rex's ether attribute display. This shows something interesting about the way the game's coded. Apparently, the stats that are displayed aren't just a direct representation of the character's stat itself, because here it's saying that the Mithra's 10% ether mod was always active. Rex's ether was always increased by 10% whenever she was being used, but it wouldn't show up that way on the stat. So apparently the multiplier didn't go into the stat display, which means that the actual modified stats aren't the ones that appear on the stat screen. It's calculated in some different way, which is just interesting to know about. And it was only a visual bug, so it's not going to change gameplay, and Mithra's still pretty broken, but what's fixed is fixed. Address the problem where crafting field skills like Pyra's cooking, where you couldn't continually make things. You'd get kicked out of the menu every time you make one thing and would have to go through the field skill cutscene again. You don't have to do that anymore. It's only once per session. This fixes a lot of bad things. Now the grind to max out Pyra's affinity chart and other people who have crafting stuff like Gorig and Dahlia and stuff, it's a little bit easier. And that's always a good thing. Just good quality of life changes. Fixed an issue where titles of locations were not displaying when discovering landmarks, locations, and secret areas or viewpoints. I'm not sure what that is, whether, like, it's up next to the minimap the location wouldn't appear, or it's, just in general in the, like, you discovered thing banner. I'm not sure which that's meaning, but it's a visual bug that's fixed. Fixed an issue where blades would cycle backwards for Rex when using blade change if Mithra was engaged. I never noticed that. I guess Rex's blades would go 3-2-1 instead of 1-3-2 instead of 1-2-3 if you were doing the ZL blade switch when Mithra is engaged, but I don't know. And new features as well as other quality of life things. In NPC, Money has been added to Chapter 1 of New Game Plus to restore your money one time. This is bad wording because your money always carries over. It basically means that since you're required to send a certain amount of money back to Fonset Village and purchase an Abyss Vest at the beginning of the game, even in New Game Plus, if you finish the game with less than enough money to do that, you will have to grind up enough to do that just in Argentum somehow, and it sucks, even if you're salvaging. So, Money will just give you enough money for that, basically, if you don't have enough when you get there. It also adjusted the difficulty of some of the boss battles in Chapter 10 of New Game Plus, so they reflect Rex's level. That's disappointing, honestly. Basically, in New Game Plus, you could adjust, the ghost fights, where you have to fight the party members and stuff. That was kind of cool how you could, like, adjust the difficulty of those fights yourself by, like, making your party members all level 99, but then Rex level 1, and you'd have to fight them off that way. So, but now they just reflect Rex's level, which is kind of lame, honestly. Now displays the currently held and maximum number of accessories, aux cores, and poppy, spelled wrong again, parts in menus and shops. That's a good change. I guess you could see how many of stuff you already have and you're trying to buy something. That's okay. Added a function to down... I dropped my water bottle. I'm sorry. I'm not cutting that out. You're gonna have to deal with that. Not like it's the worst thing that's shown up on my audio, because people in other rooms in this building slamming doors is just a thing that always happens in the Let's Play videos. Added a function to download the second expansion pass quest, and a bunch of other things to let you know when expansion pass stuff is available. But that is, for a 1.3.x update, that's surprisingly good. It's again showing that they're actually listening to stuff and doing things that are fixing issues, first off, that the community mentioned, and also actively trying to improve the game past the way it was at release, which they didn't do with X. They just kind of did the game, did the DLC, did the localization, updated it like once, and that was it. So they're actively trying to make this game better, which is good, because, yeah, it's already the best game on the Switch, but it seems like it's just going to get even better from here, and honestly, I couldn't be happier by that. So, yeah, this was a pleasant surprise for an update that I thought was just going to be a couple bug fixes and, hey, you have more DLC, but I don't know, I'm actually more excited for future updates for this now, just because they're doing good ones. They're doing really good with these, in all honesty, so that's cool. And, as always, until next time, first off, watch the other 4 videos I uploaded today, and until next time, this is Luxon, signing off.